I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we craft the Patrick Bee, and also catch it. Hopefully you guys are ready. Now jumping back into some more All the Mods 9, last episode we set up Create, and so now we have access to all kinds of Create utilities, but that is going to lead us now into prepping for the All the Mods Star even more. That's right, actually getting our crafters up and running and getting the Patrick Star ready to go. Now, so far, just to kind of update where I stand, I am literally just waiting on Nether Stars. So as far as Nether Stars go, I have 1.6 million. We're about to hit the 1.7 million mark, but I need to be at the 1.77 million mark. So we are still a little ways away, and these are going up quite fast. And then our essence is, well, honestly kind of useless, to be fair, because the essence is essentially divided by 9 and then divided by 3. And so what we have here is very, very limited amounts of Nether Stars. And if I go ahead and do a check real quick, just to kind of put you in perspective of where we currently stand as far as Nether Stars go, if I go ahead and I take a look at Nether Stars, I'll take a look at the 3 times, and we need for 18 All the Mod Stars, we need 270 of these 3 times compressed. And so you'll see, oh, we're actually really close. I wasn't actually expecting that. Okay, so maybe our essence will help us just a little bit, because we are very, very close to actually having all of these to craft. It looks like we're just needing 1,000 essence essentially. And then that's basically all I need to complete the All the Mod Star. However, today, there is still some things that I want to do, even though we may have that completed. And that is that I want to actually go searching for the Patrick Star Bee. But first, let's go in and get our crafter set up and just craft and show you how this is actually going to be set up for crafting the regular Patrick Star. Now, if I've done my math correctly, we're going to need 110 crafters to technically have the All the Mod Star crafter and the Patrick Star crafter. So I don't know which side I want to do what. I might have the Patrick Star being made over here, and I have my power ready to go, and these will be able to run at max speed off of the machine, the boiler that we set up last episode. So if you're looking forward to seeing how the Create stuff worked and you missed it, be sure to check out the prior episode, after this video. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. We should be able to just use the exchanging gadget, make sure this is facing the appropriate way, and this should automatically know what direction this is going to face, and it should copy all of that information and send it straight into here, and making this craft very fast. Notice, by the way, these are all pointed down, and we don't necessarily want them all pointed down, and same for this one, but I'm going to go ahead and just get that copied in and get this also exchanged over here as well. So yeah, we should be able to move all of this with our wrench. If you've never set up a crafter before, these are pretty cool, as they can do all kinds of different crafts, just so long as you're giving them the rotational energy, aka stress units. Now, all of these can actually send to a central location, and I think I want that to be right here on the top. So we can get a functional storage drawer, and we can honestly make it look like anything we want. So let's go ahead and make one of these like fancy storage drawers, just like this. This is a framed version, and I think I want it to look like a Create crafter. And to do that, we can use some of this right here. This is going to be the brass casing. And so this right here is a framed drawer that looks just like the crafter itself. And that can go right there, and then we'll place this one right here. And I just need to get all of these arrows eventually pointing up into this crafter, and it can look just like this. But once it's all said and done, I have all of these converging right here to that central block. And same for this side. Now we can actually go ahead and test to see if this is going to work. So I did go ahead and I already guessed that this was going to work, because if you think about the rotation here with these cogs, if I send this, and let's say, for example, this is rotating counterclockwise, it's going to cause this crafter to rotate counterclockwise. And we can kind of do this sort of loop here. We can rotate, and then it's going to go into this cog. It's going to wrap around like this, and then it'll wrap around this cog, and then it'll wrap around this cog, and so on and so forth. And that means that all of these center cogs are technically rotating in the appropriate direction. And that means these both should be able to run at max speed, and all of our crafters are now working. Now, if you ever want to use a crafter, for example, like this, to do like a single craft, for example, crafting this birch log into regular planks, well, we should be able to do that by simply giving this a redstone signal. And you'll notice this should go all the way to the center point, and then it crafted the item, and we made sure that it sent into this container, and it has successfully worked. That right there was just an example of how you can give it a redstone signal no matter the shape. If it's larger than the initial craft, you can actually force the craft to happen. But you do need to make sure that it is at least in the appropriate shape that the recipe does require. A good example of this would also be to go ahead and show you that I can create crushing wheels from within this design here. So if I lay these all out, we should be able to create crushing wheels just by hitting this button. And if everything was put in there correctly, we will see that this will combine and give us crushing wheels. Looky there. So even though we won't be constantly producing all the mod stars in one of these crafters, this is actually a good example of the fact that we could still use it to craft other things while the Patrick Star one can continuously run. Now, another cool thing to mention is the fact that we can actually connect the backs here. So notice I have these back sections connected, and that means we could use an exporter, for example, to export into just one of these crafters that are a part of this connected grid. And that would actually send all three of the crafters to fill with those ingredients. So you can actually kind of simplify things. And I don't know if for the regular star, if this is going to be something that's really worth doing, as we do have a lot of different ingredients, but some things are technically connected, but it might be more complicated to try and connect all of the things that need to be connected than just putting exporters on the back and setting the ingredients. And speaking of exporters on the back, let's go ahead and get those exporters placed here on the back. I'm going to be using exporters to request the crafts of these individual materials that are needed for this Patrick Star, which is the centerpiece of the All the Mods Star. Now, I will say this process is quite tedious and quite time consuming. I've got to manually place this upgrade because if I was to shift right click it, it's actually going to fill the actual first slot of the filter and apply 3 of these or 4 of these into the upgrade slot, even though I only need 1. So yeah, quite tedious. I've got to go and do this all manually one by one. I was wondering why my hand was hurting. You know what would be a really cool feature is if you could put the upgrades in your offhand and then right click the exporters and it would automatically insert that upgrade. Oh, that would be really nice. Tiny Chosen could only dream. Now, another thing I want to do is on the one that we're making the Patrick Stars for, I think I'm going to put a downgrade upgrade in here. I know that sounds crazy, but the downgrade upgrade essentially means that this drawer will only hold a stack of items. It will literally downgrade it to the maximum that it can store of 64, which in my opinion is an upgrade for something like this, where we don't want this always constantly crafting up those Patrick Stars, because believe me, this thing will. Now, the good old star is going to only require, I think, 4 different kinds of concrete. It's going to require the concrete powder and concrete itself, but it's just going to be pink, magenta, green, and also lime green, whereas the lime concrete doesn't have any concrete powder. So the hardest part about this whole thing is just making sure we put everything in the correct order from the back into all of our exporters. So I'm going to have to always like turn around and think about this and pull this back up and go, okay, magenta's all on the bottom. So this is actually magenta concrete itself. And I just need to make sure to put this in one at a time and just take my time, because all it takes is one little mistake and I have broken the whole thing. So I believe I'm getting there. One piece of concrete at a time, but we're slowly getting there. Oh boy, I think I'm almost there. I have one more to place in, and that is going to be a solid pink at the top. And if I've done this all correctly, that should then all craft into a Patrick Star. Okay, so it was wrong. I must have done something wrong, because you see it is spitting everything out. So if that was the case, in which I figured that might happen because of the way that I'm setting this up, I've got to figure out exactly where I went wrong here. I think I found my problem, and that is that I need this item right here. I need this, instead of being the magenta powder, this actually needs to be the magenta concrete. And that was the only one that was messed up. Oh, goodness. Let me go ahead and grab the pink, and then I place this in. And now this should craft up the star. So something else is still wrong. So this is just something, this is a thing it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I now see exactly what I did. This is supposed to be pink up here instead of magenta. And now that that's solved, okay, hopefully we now have everything we need. Okay, whew, just trial and error. These are things you're going to probably encounter as well if you decide to do this. And there we go. Oh, we've completed it. And now we have ourselves a Patrick Star. But this is just going to end up crafting up 64 of these. And look how fast this goes. This is just so cool looking. So we have 64 of these that are going to be crafted. But I still want to go after the B, because to be able to make the all the mods B, which is essentially what we're going to go after, we need to convert a Patrick Star B. And this B, well, it's a little bit obscure on how you obtain it. So this has to be one of the funniest looking bees I have seen in this mod, and I absolutely love it. It says right here, this species of bee can't be bred, but this is how we obtain it, is through fishing in a warm ocean. Now, as far as fishing goes, you know, the best way to go about this is to have a fishing rod and then just to enchant it as much as you can. Now, this is a diamond fishing rod from aquaculture. There are also fishing rods from mystical agriculture and other sources. I don't know if this one's like the best option here, but I know that we should be able to enchant this thing quite nicely. So this is one of my best enchanting stations over here, and we should be able to see like almost every enchant that could be put on here because of all of the hints that show up. And we see that this has life mending. I'm honestly not super worried about life mending. I don't really think that's going to be a big idea or big issue, but we have unusing, we have luck of the sea, and I think lure would be great for these. Now, being able to take these enchants, for example, let's say off of a apotheosis book and maybe applying our own would be a little bit better. These tomes of the fishers usually are pretty good. So we can go ahead and just put all kinds of stuff on here and then just simply remove them. I think that would be a pretty good idea. Wow, even with all of that, it appears we can only put like luck of the sea on here at these levels. And that's as far as it's going to go. Now we can also Eternal Stella this, which is probably a good idea for this particular thing if we want to try and use something to automate it. That'll now make it completely unbreakable. But there's also some other things that we can use to hopefully help boost our fishing. Another thing we can do is potentially use this Nether Star hook, which apparently has a 50% chance to not use durability, but also increase our luck. And I don't know if this actually has durability on it, or it's just something that you use whenever you go to cast. I don't know. That's pretty cool. I think I've figured this out. So you need to make yourself a tackle box and then put the rod inside the tackle box. And then you can actually put the hook in here. And I don't think the hook has durability, but the bait will have durability. And so this will then have that hook on it. You can see right there. Now to get worms, which should help even further, is it's sort of like a composter station. It's called a worm farm. And so we just put them in like that. And then this should generate worms. Yeah, look at that. There we go. We now have a bunch of worms. And apparently this has a durability on it, which means we might be able to Eternal Stella this. And it did look like it does work. So let's go ahead and try and Stella this worm. Oh boy, we have an eternal worm now. We'll see if that actually works. I have no idea, but I have so many Stellas. And then apparently we have like a reel in this down here. And that appears to be a fishing line and a bobber. So we'll have our fishing line and a bobber on here. And now we should have a pretty decent fishing rod, I think. Now I've made my way out into a warm ocean and I'm going to try and use the catcher here just in case I don't get lucky and I don't grab it for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and also put my tackle box down so we have that nearby. And I guess just start fishing for right now and hopefully we get lucky. So this should have everything on it to increase speed. Look at that. And so we just got ourselves an anchovy. But I wanted to try this out. So if you didn't know, reliquary actually has the ability to use items, a ton of different items, including a ton of different items from Reliquary itself. And they all have some sort of different effects. And that is if you use a pedestal. And so this pedestal right here, let me go ahead and craft all of the things up for it. This thing, if you use the one that says automate stuff and things, this one should be able to auto fish for us. Now, I don't know if I need to have this auto fisher, for example, like right out in the water. I'm not quite sure. I think though what I might do is place it on top of this, the actual catcher, and then place this here. Now this says state off, and then if I turn it on, it is going to start auto fishing. Now it doesn't automatically have a way of collecting the drops. We'd have to have something else for that, but this is supposed to auto fish for us apparently. And so we should see the same fishing animations I think we would see as if we were using it. And it should start catching fish. Yeah, supposedly. Oh, there's one. Notice it? And there it goes. It just ended up catching me a shrimp. And then it just sends it back out again. And now this shouldn't be using any durability on this fishing rod. Now, here's the thing. I just don't know if this also will fish up the bee, or do I have to do this all manually? I guess I'll have to kind of come back and see if this is working. Now, so far, no luck. And I don't know if it's because I'm going to need to be the one manual fishing, but I do really like that this thing is just fishing everything up for me. I actually really do like that. However, I still think I'm going to have to be the one that fishes up this bee. And yeah, this is just going to be a lengthy process, I think. Believe me, though, I really do love the concept of fishing up the Patrick Star bee. I mean, I just envision the scene from SpongeBob of Patrick just pulling on the hooks until he gets flung all the way up to the surface. It's just hilarious. Now, as I'm fishing, I'm also going to be getting the Neptunium. And this is going to contain, yeah, some of this Neptunium block and also driftwood. Interesting. Even finding a message in the bottle. Recycle for 5 brass. Oh, well, that wasn't very helpful. You know, when you feel like you're a god in the game and you have just about everything you could ever want, about to tap into creative items, and then you just get sent to fishing. It's just kind of peaceful, honestly. But man, it really throws you back into reality. Oh, it just spawned. Oh, we got it. Okay. Fishy penis. Okay, that was that caught me off guard because I was actually reading a Reddit post about if you can use anything other than vanilla to do it, and apparently you can, because I just figured that out. Okay, so we can use this rod. It did take it, and then we do have ourselves a bee, a Patrick bee. I also made sure to put on beekeeper's gear because they did say that it could come out hostile and sting you, and the beekeeper's gear will actually prevent you from getting stung, and it's very, very easy to make this stuff. So it would protect the bee essentially, but the water, yeah, the water will end up hurting the bee. Woo! That was actually not too bad. Now I did go ahead and spawn it and hit it with some honey treats, and that makes sure to make it passive towards me, and it says clear their head. Woo, because it is hostile. Wow. I also think this bee deserves to be in a sturdy cage. Yeah, let's get it in a permanent one. Dude, I gotta tell him, Fred, we got the bee. We got the bee. I'm so excited, Fred. Oh, man. Fred's like, dude, explain more to me. Well, he's been in this cage the entire time and all of this stuff has gone on. Yes, we now have or are about to get the All the Mud Star. Can you believe that? I can't. So with that bee now gathered, we have almost everything ready to go. There are a few things that I do want to go over as far as the All the Mods Star production is going to be concerned. And that is, for example, the Dimensional Seed. Now, I do have all of the things ready to go for the Dimensional Seed, but I just want to show you how fast it should be to, for example, craft up 18 diamond blocks straight from Essence. Well, not all of it's coming from Essence, but a lot of it is going to be coming from Essence, right? So if we go to blocks, for example, like diamond blocks, we will now see that we have the 4 times compressed. And we are going to technically need 18 of these. So let's go ahead and make 18 4 times compressed. And we're going to see how fast this actually crafts all of those. And it's going to be crafting almost all of this from Essence. So as soon as I start this, we can actually peer into that by changing my crafter mode, and we can see just how fast this actually crafts. And we can see the percentage up here as this continues to increase. And this will be a very consistent increase in percentages. But in reality, this is a very fast way to craft these up, just by leaving them in a drawer, using them as needed until the final thing. And these Nether Star crafters are just insanely fast. I don't even know how to explain how fast they are. They are near creative. I would almost call these crafters creative. This is what allows me to essentially craft all the refined storage parts almost instantaneously, especially since I upgraded to my unobtainium furnace. This unobtainium furnace is so fast that the Nether crafter technically can't keep up. It can kind of keep up, but our importers weren't able to keep up. So I had to put the max tier mega importers with max upgrades on all of the faces except for the front in order to keep up with how fast this produces items. So all of this to basically say, this is not going to take too long at all for all of this to craft down. We're already at 40 something percent just from me talking here. So it looks like it might take us 3 minutes to craft each of these things. It'll be even faster, by the way, for the dirt, even faster for the Instone and Netherrack, simply because those essences craft more than just one. This takes 9 essence to make 1 diamond. Now, we've been farming our diamonds the same amount of time that it's taken me to farm the Nether Stars, and our emeralds are 9 to 1. But as far as dirt goes, it's actually way less. So you can easily get by with way less dirt essence. It just happened to be farming up the same time we were farming all of this up. And I would say about my total AFK time, this is just AFK alone in this world, has been about 30 hours, give or take. And that was just here at the end, just to wait for the Nether Stars. And I have all of these running with Nether Stars. And so all of these are running. I also have the 16 times production running. And these have been producing along with just very few essence, honestly. I think I have 9 essence in total that have been running. And yes, this has been able to produce in that time. And we can already take a peer at our time in the bottle. We can now see we have 171 hours inside of our time in the bottle. And that is just from the time that we were even able to craft the time in the bottle, which did require us to have gotten already to unobtainium. Just to put in perspective our statistics so far, we have about 10 days worth of playtime, IRL days worth of playtime in our All the Mods world. So a lot of time has gone into this on my end, and I feel like I have definitely prepped myself just enough. The Nether Stars are the only thing that if I was to do this again, I would make sure that I had way more Nether Stars manually farmed. That way I could have essence being produced way earlier on, and or potentially had these running way earlier on. Honestly, I do blame the Nether Stars on my miscalculation of just how many I was going to need. Essentially, I went to think about how many Nether Stars I was going to need by using this down here, and I just didn't keep in mind that I need 15 of them. So I just thought that I was going to need 18 individual blocks, and that's not a lot of Nether Stars, to be fair. What's a lot is whenever you multiply that number that I needed by 15, which is how many we were going to need. And that's where it put it up to the 1.7 million Nether Stars needed. Almost 1.8. Oh, and just that time we were rambling, there we go. We already have all of our compressed diamond blocks that are going to be needed. The reason I was showing off diamond is because I feel like that's out of all of those blocks needed, I feel like diamonds are the hardest one, I think, to obtain. Emeralds are pretty easy because of the emerald farms. Now let's talk a little bit about what my plans are for this series, because I do want to kind of continue, honestly. I have sat here and spent all of this time in this world, and I just don't want to leave it this time. I have really grown very attached to this world so far, and I'm having a blast still playing it and discovering new ways of setting things up. Like, I haven't even set up the Haunter and all kinds of stuff that we can do with our Create setup behind us. But my goal is to honestly craft some of the creative items. They are going to be kind of hard to obtain. Creative items also have their own sort of mechanics that we have to go through in order to actually get. For example, we have to have all of these runes, for example, from the Mythic Botany in order to get the Everlasting Guilty Pool. But while we're working on that, we're going to have all the mod stars technically building up for us, allowing us to do all of this. There's also a creative jetpack. I still have no idea why this is checkmarked. This has been checkmarked since we started and still has never gone away. And then we also have the infinity pipes. Like there's all of these upgrades that we could technically use these things for. There is the infinite pressure. I don't really know how much I would want that, but I would really love, for example, some of the create stuff, like a creative motor. Like we should be able to easily make a creative motor. Look how easy that is to craft. And that would be very, very nice. Definitely getting ourselves the creative blaze cake, because this is fantastic, allowing us to essentially toggle our blaze into all of its different states and maintain it without fuel. That is crazy. And then also creative power, how I cannot bypass that, and a creative source jar, allowing us to have infinite source wherever we want. And the fact that these are so easy to craft, you can see right here, these should be easy for us to just make and set up crazy setups anywhere we want. At least that's my idea, and hopefully you guys are down for that. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. I've never really continued a series after making the creative items, and I've never used them to their fullest potential. Really, I haven't. I just this go around don't want to look at it as there's no point in playing after we have essentially completed this challenge, because there is still more to do. And honestly, in this pack, I still haven't even touched GregTech, and I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to give it a shot. I might, however, dabble a little bit in it in an episode just to get a taste of what GregTech in this pack is sort of like. But that will have to be for another day, because today I am all the modded out. And, well, we have as many stars as we'll probably ever need. Yes, this is going to be great, because now we have automated these stars, and once we have our bee up and running, oh, this will be used for that bee, and then we'll just have infinite stars building up. Oh, that is going to be phenomenal. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. And well, comment down below. Again, what's your thoughts on getting to the creative items and continuing versus, well, quitting? Because I really don't want to quit. Let me know down in the comments. What's your views on that? Do you want to see me make creative items? From what I've seen, you guys kind of do. I kind of ran a little bit of a poll. But anyways, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Marcus. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord and becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. Thank you guys all who do choose to support, and also thank you guys for watching the video and deciding to click that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye!